welcome to yoga. Welcome back for those of you who have been following along, and maybe there is a new person looking in. Everyone's welcome. Today's class is called Finding a Home on Your Mat and Staying There for a While. So we'll be exploring a sequence of poses and maybe finding a way to feel at home in each pose. But we're going to start out today standing up in Tadasana, or mountain pose. So look down at your feet. Lift your toes up right now and spread them out. See if you can see your mat between some of your toes, and then you can put that down. Feet right under your hips. Press down with the ball of your big toe. You can still have your toes lifted. Leave that pressure on your mat with the ball of the big toe, and then spread the toe end of your feet out so you can push down on the ball of the little toe. So you've got your foot spread out and equal weight inside and outside. Now coming back to your heel, I'm just going to say the center of the heel. So push down with your heel, and then see where you're in your tripod there, see where you maybe don't have as much weight. For me, it's on the little toe side. And so you can spread your feet out, see if you can find a good hold. And then you can relax your toes. Lift your arches up. Lift up your kneecaps. Engage your quads a little bit. Mula Bandha, the pelvic floor comes up. And then all the way like a zipper coming up the inner thighs, all the way up through your sternum to the top of your head. Get nice and tall. The ribs are going to telescope right up off the hip bones, so that's called telescoping the ribs. So right now you might be standing like Frankenstein. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. For me, that made me relax my belly, so I'm pulling my belly in a little bit. Relax your elbows in your hands. Here we are in Tadasana. It means mountain pose. It's a very stable pose. Close your eyes. Soften your skin so that you're not so Frankensteinish and stiff in this pose. You could hold this pose for a long time. If somebody bumped into you, you would be able to stand your ground. Start to breathe. Become aware of your breath. Relax your fingers. Find a smile. Draw your tailbone down a little bit so you can lengthen that lumbar area of your lower back. And then open your eyes, and let's go right into neck release pose. So start by bringing your right ear down toward your right shoulder, not your shoulder up to your ear. Just bring it down there to relax the left side of your neck. Now, if this is more comfortable, you can look down a little bit and find your own place where your neck can loosen. In this pose, called neck release, see if you can find that Tadasana, or mountain pose, with equal weight on the left and the right foot, and zipping up through the center, telescoping the ribs. Yeah. Relax those shoulders down and breathe. Breathe right there into that left side of the neck that does not want to give up its control. With your next inhalation, sweep your left arm out, up and over, nice spread out fingers, spread out toes, and reach over to open up the left ribs here. So you want to just breathe right into that area, and this is really telescoping the ribs of the hip bone on that side. You can also think about lifting the inside, the right side of the ribs up a little bit. And now just find a comfortable way to be in this standing side bend. Check out your Tadasana. Are your hips evenly placed over your ankles? Are you weighted on both sides? You can push down a little bit more with that left foot to give yourself some traction to reach up and breathe. Let your neck go. Okay, next phase of the pose. Keep your body and neck as it is, and reach that left arm down so it's angled down toward the floor. And now pull away a little bit with the fingers from the ear so you can really get a nice opening there. Find home in this pose. Can you find home in this pose? If somebody bumped into you right now, would you still be nice and stable? Because you're holding your ground. Coming up, I want you to leave your head and neck nice and loose as you reach through with those left fingers and pull your torso up, and at the end use your right hand to lift your head so we don't tighten up that neck again. Breathe in. Breathe out. Continue to breathe and study your body. Is your left side of the body more open than the right? Do they feel the same? Back to Tadasana, mountain pose. Now, bring your left ear toward your left shoulder, top of your arm there. Open up those collarbones, let them smile. Come back to the Tadasana body. Relax the shoulder blades down the back. And find a good position for your chin. You can wiggle it around a little bit and find the right place for you to get a nice opening in that neck. The neck works so hard. Our head wants to control everything we do, and the neck is sort of the driver there. Tadasana, right and left foot, feet. Find those 3 points in each foot. Reach up through the center line. And then with an inhalation, sweep the right arm up and come into the side bend, like an accordion opening up on that side. Your ribs are opening up. Some of you may want to draw your right hip in a little bit so you're still in Tadasana from the waist down. And releasing the neck. Breathe into the right ribs. Expand them as you breathe in. And coming into the next phase of the pose, right arm comes down. Spread out those fingers on both hands so you get the hands starting to wake up. Lift your arches on your feet and then reach. Explore a little bit and see what feels good. Maybe your heart reaching up more toward the sky feels good. The right shoulder might come back a little bit. Come back to your alignment. Tailbone down, tucked a little bit. Belly pulled in. Equal weight on right and left sides. And coming out same way. Reaching through with that right arm and resisting the urge to lift your head up with your neck muscles and lift yourself up. And here we are back in Tadasana. Stay here and we'll do a few easy salutations before we come to our seated meditation. Bring your palms together at the center of your chest. Breathe in. Breathe out, release your arms. Breathe in, chair pose. Breathe out, forward bend. Remember to keep a nice loose neck. Bring your fingertips to your ankles, your shins, your knees, and come up in a half forward bend. So extend your upper body out. Exhale, fold over into forward fold again. Drop your hips. See if your knees are coming right forward and not knock-kneed. And then out of the foundation, come right up into chair pose again. And this also holds Tadasana in it. Tadasana is the home for this pose. Push down with your heels as you lift up into Namaste. Again. Inhale, chair. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, half forward bend. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, come up through chair. Exhale, standing with palms together. Breathe in, Utkatasana. Breathe out, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift into Utkatasana. Exhale, Tadasana. Breathing in and breathing out. Come to seated. Find a comfortable way to sit. This is another good home plate for practice of yoga. It's called Sukhasana, and Sukh means sweet, and so it's called easy pose or sweet pose. And it's easy for me to remember that one because of the word sucrose, and I don't know if it has anything to do with Sanskrit, but when I hear Sukhasana, I think of sweet or easy. Okay, so find a comfortable way. You can sit any way you want. You can even be leaning back. This class today is all about finding home, and the reason I chose it is because of an essay I read earlier this week, and I will be sharing that with you near the end of the class. The reason home was speaking to me is right now there's really a temptation to loosen up on that safety contract we have to maintain social distance. It's really been tough on us to not go about our business, go up to classes, get our hair cut, go to the grocery store every time we need something, go to a restaurant and celebrate a birthday. And so I'm hoping that we can all recommit to staying home. And that doesn't mean stay home all the time, but think about drawing in. And so through our poses today, we will work a little bit on staying home in each pose and maybe staying a little bit longer than we want to in some of them. Okay, so close your eyes. Begin by noticing your breath. How's your breath doing? How about your body? If you enjoyed that last week, finding a special place and area to work on, I welcome you to do that this week. How does it feel to be sitting on your yoga mat or on your rug, wherever you're sitting for your practice right now? Think of it as home, for your home practice for yoga. Start to lengthen your breath and smooth it out. If you've chosen an area, imagine drawing your breath into that area that you want to work on. Give it some attention, not judging it. And then as you exhale, release it, relax it a little bit. Coming home to the practice, drawing in, giving your full attention to this pose. And if you have your own mantra, I like to just think of the simple sentences. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. Stay home, stay with the pose. With the last few breaths in the seated meditation, welcome yourself home. Welcome home. Welcome home to your body, to your yoga mat, to the time you're spending right now. then blink your eyes open. Come forward to sit on your heels, if that feels good to you, or you can just find another position where you're going to do some wrist work, because this will be a fairly energetic practice that will have plank, chaturanga, and downward dog. So we want to get those wrists open. Start out with reaching your arms out with your thumbs up, fingers spread, stretching those palms. And I like to think about the energy coming from my center line, so that takes more of the weight off the arms. Close your thumb into your palm. Spread out the other four fingers. Spread them out away from each other. Now draw the index finger in and see if you can squeeze that. And again, reach the other fingers out. Now bring in the middle finger, nice squeeze of the thumb, the ring finger, and finally the little finger folds in. So you've got your thumb side of your fist up. Now, as though you're pouring out some cream, draw those fists down to open up this part of your wrist and pull them down, and then come up to even. Breathe, and do that again. Pour it down. And then release, maybe shake it out a little bit. This time, bring your arms out with palms down. And we're going to take the little finger and pull it in. Ring, middle finger. You might feel some twinges there, I did. Index finger, and then squeeze your thumb over those fingers. Now, with the knuckles up, you're going to fold them down. See how far you can feel that. If you can feel it right up into your pectorals, maybe. And bring it up, release it. And one more time down. And release. What have we got next here? Elbow to knee. Let's do some ab work. So come onto your backs. We'll do the first two with our feet on our mat, and then the next two we'll have our feet up like this. So if you want to leave your feet down on the mat the whole time, of course that's fine. And those of you who want to lift your feet right up, of course you can do that. It's your pose. So let's just feel this right here. The feet are on the mat, hip width, and see if you can push down on those 3 points. See if you can find home there. Notice I lifted my toes automatically. Relax your shoulder blades on the floor and breathe. Find home in this pose. Bring some attention to this pose. Interlace your fingers behind your head and your neck. Have the elbows pointing up and still relax the shoulder blades. Inhale. Big broad inhale. Pause your breath. Draw your lower back down to the floor. Extend your left leg and lift your elbows up, reaching toward the left leg. Inhale, leave your head and shoulders up. Bring that foot down. Big breath in. Pause your breath. Draw your belly down. Curl your tailbone up. Exhale. Push out through the right. Inhale, come back. I think I said the wrong exercise. Big breath in. Draw your back down. Exhale, now your elbows are pointing toward the left foot and it's extending out at an angle. Curl your tailbone up again. Inhale, come back to center. Pause your breath. Fix your back. Exhale, extend out through the right. Curl your tailbone. Inhale, come back. Readjust if you want. You might want to have your knees up and you might not. So let's start over again. Breathing in. Pause your breath. Curl your tailbone up. Feel that lower back reach the floor. Exhale, reach out with your left foot and now bring your elbows up towards your right knee. Inhale. Bring your legs back the same way, but leave your head and shoulders where they were. Pause your breath. Draw your back down. Exhale, right leg extends at an angle. Inhale, come back to the center. Really get some breath in there. And then pause your breath. Draw your lower back down. Exhale, other side. Reaching forth with the foot. Maybe lifting your shoulder blades right up off the floor. Curl your tailbone up again. Inhale, come back to knees together. Pause your breath. Exhale, go to the final side and reach out. Curl your tailbone up again. Inhale, come back. Bring your feet down. Bring your head down. Release your arms out to the side. And just wave your knees back and forth and relax. Hug your knees to your chest and roll back and forth. Oh, finally rolling to one side. Coming up, this is a pose too, and it's a really difficult pose to learn. Keep my neck heavy and not use my head to pull my body up and my neck muscles. Okay, dolphin pose. I like to have my forearms and elbows free for the sticky mat. That helps me. So come to hands and knees, elbows and knees, excuse me. Well, let's come up to hands and knees and do a couple of cat and cow. Just on your own. Limbering up the spine a little more. And now bring your elbows down right under your shoulders. Get a good grip on your upper arms so that you're really up in a good position for your rotator cuff. You've got your elbows right under that shoulder joint. Yeah. Two positions you can take. You can interlace your hands out in front of you, and then you can press down with that part of your forearms for a nice security. Or you can reach your hands out, and your forearms will be in parallel with your palms down. Find your position. Let your head drop. Lift up your arms, your shoulders enough so that your head is not touching the floor. You can wag your head back and forth. And start breathing into the upper back. Lifting it, broadening it, inflating it. Lift your belly up too. Turn your toes under. Lift your knees up, coming into dolphin pose. You can have dolphin pose with your knees down. It's more work in some ways, or you can start straightening your legs. I meant your knees bent, not knees down. And breathing in dolphin pose. Draw your chest closer to your thighs. Find good Tadasana support with those forearms and those hands. Those are your support, and also with your feet in the back. Find the breath. Is it possible for you to feel at home in this pose? Maybe it isn't. Maybe you need to put your knees down on the mat and find dolphin pose. Find a good place where you can be home with this pose and steady it. One more breath. And then bring your knees down. Wide as your mat, and let's come into child's pose. So come down to child's pose, rest your forehead on the floor, release, find home in child's pose. Take a break. Okay, come on up out of child's pose to table. Tabletop has a nice flat back. You're using your core. We're going to do some core work here, but I want you to pay attention to your hands. Spread out the fingers. Look down and see if your arms are coming right up out of your hip joint and they're not bent to one side or the other, because we need that good support. Press more into your pads of your hands and grip them out a little bit. Okay, so here we are in table. Curl your toes under. Lift your knees up just 1 or 2 inches. You can look down back at them and see if they are, and just lift them up and keep a flat back. Stay in your belly. Draw the head of the arm bones into the shoulder joint. This is an ab exercise. I think it's more difficult than plank. Can you find home in this pose? It might be a new pose for you. One more good deep breath in this tabletop pose. And then bring your knees down. This is a new pose for me, and I've been working on it, and I was very klutzy with it. I might be klutzy now, but I'm finding my way home with this pose. It's tiptoe squat. So, once again, come onto your, curl your toes under, and then come up to a squat. Now, some of you with knee issues might need to be up here. All right. Finding Tadasana in tiptoe balance pose. So we're going to be working on the balance issue here, the weight coming forward or back, maybe lifting up one finger and then the other. Finding just that place where you can come into the length of Tadasana, reaching up through your core. Let your shoulders come down. And then release your fingertips to the floor, and we'll try it again. Let me try it high so I can see how that feels. Actually, you people with knee issues are going to have to work harder at this. Coming up into, it's kind of like a, I don't know, maybe sort of a strange chair. And then release your fingertips down. Come into a nice, easy forward bend here. Wag your hips back and forth, get some movement. Maybe make circles with your buns. Bend your knees quite a bit. Bring your hands to your hips. Let your head relax and fall as you come up one vertebrae at a time. Now, pay attention to the back of your thighs, okay? Really come into those hamstrings, tighten them up, and your butt muscles so you take more of the work into that back side of your body. Now, this is what I've had to learn with my piriformis problems. Really use those muscles in the back. They're so strong, and don't make your other muscles work so hard. Tadasana, mountain pose again. Salutations. Come to the front of your mat. Breathe. Find home in this familiar pose. It's not a boring pose. It's a good familiar pose. Start down with the feet. Find the feet, lift up the arches a little bit so you get really active feet. Kneecaps come up, come on up. Maybe the pelvic floor lifts up a little bit. Tailbone comes down. Lots of core here, lifting the rib cage, and let the shoulders relax. Bring your hands together at the center of your heart. Breathe in. Breathe out, release. Breathe in, arms overhead, upward salute. Bend your knees. Exhale, forward fold. Don't forget that loose neck. Pick up your right foot. Bring it behind you. Bring the right knee down. With the next inhalation, reach on up into the pose of offering, Anjanasana. Pause your breath, fingertips to the floor, pick up that back knee, step back to plank pose. Bring your knees down. Keep that body from knees up to the head in a nice plank. That's an inhale. Exhale, slowly lower, reaching your shoulders away from your ears. Inhale, come up to Sphinx pose. Let's stay in Sphinx. So you're looking ahead, but keeping the back of the neck long. Keep breathing, reaching that belly, reach the shoulder blades down. Exhale, place your hands under your shoulders, lift your shoulders up in the air, and come into downward dog. Your next inhalation, bring your right foot up near your hands. Left knee comes down. Here we are again. Anjanasana. Smile. Fingertips to the floor again. Lift the back knee. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, come back with a straight back, but a loose neck all the way to the top. Upward salute. Exhale, palms together. Other side, breathing in. Forward fold, breathing out. Left knee back, breathe in and open up the front side of the spine. Fingertips fingertips to the floor, plank, out breath. Inhale, half plank. Exhale, lower down. Sphinx pose, but right into baby cobra. So now your elbows are lifted up an inch or two, and you're just drawing your heart through your arms. Keep those shoulders back. Hands back into your shoulders. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, left foot forward, right knee down. Coming up into Anjanasana. Fingertips to the floor. Exhale, step forward to forward bend. Then come on up to upward salute. Exhale, palms together. For this third salutation, let's think about finding home in each pose. So we've already worked a lot on home in Tadasana. Inhale. Exhale, hands come down. Inhale, come up into upward salute. So you're at your full length here. Find the foundation of your feet. Keep those shoulders away from the ears. Think about the tailbone and the stomach. And now, find home in this pose. It's a very extended, tall pose. And breathe. Exhale, forward bend. Take your time coming down to forward bend so you can find home in every bit of that forward bend coming down. Right knee comes down behind you. Take your time to see if your hips are in Tadasana. Even in this asymmetrical pose, we've got our hips lined up. You've got some weight on the top of that back foot that really helps take pressure off your knee. Find the 3 points on the front foot. Come up into Anjanasana. Yeah. Here's upward salute that we did before. Here's that lunge. Find home. Fingertips to the floor. Slowly move back to plank. Take your time moving back to plank. And forget about the breath for a minute, although of course you should keep breathing. So study all those movements it takes to lift that front foot, take it back by the back foot, straighten out your body, pull in on your core, and then half plank. Take the time with that. Can you be at home with half plank? Exhale, coming on down. Stay here for a minute with your forehead on the floor. Lift your shoulders up and draw them back. I think that feels so good. Baby cobra. Same thing. See if you can find home with this pose. Be in this pose, not on your way to the next pose. Exhale, downward dog. Once again, take your time coming into downward dog. If you use your knees or not, that's fine. You might come up through plank and lift your hips. It'll be your dog. Oh, this is a pose we can probably find home in because we do that so often in yoga. Keep breathing. And now bring your right foot forward, left knee down. Come onto the top of that back foot. Find Tadasana and evenness so the middle of your body is going straight up to Anjanasana. And I always ask people to smile in this pose. Fingertips to the floor. Moving into forward bend. You can pick that foot way up if you want. You can do whatever you want and bring it next to the other foot. And to finish the pose, coming all the way up to upward salute again. And then bring your palms down. We're going to do a fast one. If this is too fast for you, just go at your own pace. And I'm going to call it out. Most of the poses in Sanskrit, but I've already forgotten this one. Oh, I think it's something like, oh well, it doesn't matter. It has the word hasta, which is hand. It's upward salute. Okay, here we go. Inhale. Exhale. Upward salute. Uttanasana. Left foot back. Anjanasana. Kumbhakasana. Ardha Kumbhakasana. Chaturanga. Bhujangasana. Gomukhasana. Right foot forward. Anjanasana. Uttanasana. Upward salute. And hands in Namaste, body in Tadasana, mountain pose. And release. Okay, let's move right into B salutation. So starting at the front of your mat, this one begins with chair pose. Find your breath first. Find your Tadasana. Find your home. How are you feeling? How's your area? Establish a cadence to your breath. Bring your palms together. Breathe in. Breathe out. Chair pose. Forward fold. Fingertips to your legs. Inhale, come halfway up. Half forward fold. Fold again. Step one foot back and the other into plank. Bring your knees down if you want, or come all the way down through Chaturanga Dandasana. Salambhasana or locust pose. Bring your palms to your hips and then lift your legs, your knees, your rib cage, but keep looking down so the back of your neck doesn't get scrunched. And breathe in this pose. Now you have a chance to see what it's like to use those muscles in the glutes and the hamstrings and the lower back. This really strengthens the back side of the body. Bring your hands back under your shoulders and come up into downward dog. Okay, this is a little bit different. We're going to come into lizard pose. So pick up your right foot and bring it over, way over to the outside of your right wrist. And then drop your left knee. So this right foot is turned out a little bit to come into lizard pose. This will take some time. Let your head go. And just let yourself open in this pose. Some of you will be able to come down onto your elbows and some of us won't. Feel the slow opening and acceptance of your muscles. Find home in this pose. What is keeping you from wanting to stay home in this pose? See if you can change it. Maybe that means coming up a little higher. And still working on it, still finding the goodness of the pose. We're going to transition into pigeon. So walk your foot, heel toe it all the way over to the other side of your mat. And then bring your knee down, and maybe it will be parallel with the front of your mat. That's a big stretch. Reach that back leg back. Now notice, you can bring that heel in and have a more acute bend of the knee here if that helps you. And reaching into pigeon pose. So take your time. You might want to start up straight. So you're reaching back for the back toe and working on lifting the chest, telescoping the ribs. And then I think almost everybody likes to come down. If it helps you to have a roll or a block under your right hip, that's totally fine. You can also bend the back leg, whatever you can find to adjust to your needs to be home in this pose. I like to stack my fists so I can rest my head. Find your breath. locate that area that's being worked right now. Everybody's area is different, but my guess is that lots of people are feeling this in their right outer hip flexor. Bring lots of breath to that nice, big, strong muscle and see if it will come home a little bit. Be gentle. If you're down in reclined pigeon, come on back up to a nice upright pigeon. Come down onto your right buttock and swing your left leg around. I'm going to turn so that I'm frontwards to you. Bring it all the way around so that one knee is over the other knee. Yeah, we're working into cow face pose, and these are going to be the lips of the cow. I just had some dermatology work, so I hope I'm not bleeding all over. Okay, so find Tadasana in this pose. Activate your feet. Sit up nice and straight. Maybe your left buttock hasn't found home. It doesn't need to touch, but see if it'll get a little bit lower by releasing. Now let's all try it at a variation of this pose that might work better for some people. Straighten the right leg and bring that into Tadasana foot. So this foot would be on the floor. And see if that works better for you. Maybe your hips are better seated and it's more possible for you to sit up straight with Tadasana from the hips up. If not, you can come back to this. It doesn't matter, you can go back and forth. I forgot at the beginning of this class to mention that you should have a strap, a belt, a cord, anything that you have in your house. And so if you need to stop the video for a minute and grab something, that's fine. Or you don't need it, you can do it without it. So we need to get the ear of the cow up here to make our cow face. So come back to home in this pose. And then take your strap or knot and lift the right arm up into the sky. Can you even up those shoulders and the hips, finding the evenness? So draw the head of the arm bone right up out of the shoulder joint and now seat it down in there. That takes your shoulder blade, it takes the muscles, it'll wrap around, and then turn your hand back and bend your elbow. So this is the ear of the cow. Now, sometimes the neck really gets tweaked for me in this, so I'm going to keep a nice loose neck. Reach up with that elbow. The other hand, your left hand, reaches with your palm back, and now bend that elbow and bring your fingertips to start right to the lower back and push into that lower back. It'll feel good. Find home again. Now you can start to let it creep up, and maybe you'll be holding onto that strap. And if you don't have a strap, it's fine to just be having your arms like this. Okay, the secret to this pose, I think, is not overexerting and trying to grab onto one hand, grab the other. Come to the place where you can maintain a nice alignment, say in Tadasana, so that your shoulders and your neck aren't getting all scrunched up. See if you can open it up a little bit. And be as content as they say cows are. And find your breath. And Gomukhasana. Go is cow. Mukha is face, cow face pose. Asana is pose or a seat. Let that right ear poke up toward the sky. Draw your upper arms to the center of the midline. Get nice and tall in this pose. Find home in Gomukhasana. Very slowly and gently release yourself from this pose. That's a big pose for the shoulders. And then come to both legs out in a V. Inhale and lift up, and then just lean forward. with a nice even back. Rock back and forth a little bit to get those hips to release a little bit more. And then let's come up to cow face pose. Wait a minute. No, we still need to do pigeon on the other side. So we were all like this, back in cow face pose with the left knee up. Take the left foot back, bring the right foot back, plank. Yeah, I forgot we were in a salutation. Come on down through chaturanga. Inhale for one breath in and Salabhasana, locust pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, bring your left foot forward, out to the outside of your left ankle, and bring the right knee down, and just be up here for a little while. You might want to move around a little bit. Find some opening in there. In your own time, let your head hang down, and start coming into the pose of the lizard. The lizard on the sunny rock, really feeling at home. Now here I'm feeling on the inside of my upper thigh. It's working a different part of the hip flexor, the inner hip flexor. And that's interesting. It's good to be curious about where you're working in these poses. You can bring your breath to those places and find home. One more good, nutritious breath. Work your way up. Walk your left foot over to the right side of your mat. And bring that knee down. And stay up here for a while and just see how that feels to have the shin more or less parallel. It might not feel right as you start to come down. Reach the back leg back and then come into this big breasted pigeon where the pigeon has got all that cooing up in his chest, and you're really breathing and drawing your shoulders down and opening up. And then if you like, you can stay here or you can come into reclining pigeon, whichever feels good to you. Wiggle around a little bit, trying to get home. Try to find home in pigeon pose. How much of your body is awake right now? That back leg is doing its own work, reaching back through the back toe. You're still telescoping your ribs, so you've got a nice long torso. Pigeon pose. Gomukhasana. Bring your breath to the place that is commanding your attention right now, even if it's not your area. And you can bring your next breath to your area. And then use your hands to walk yourself up to upright pigeon again. Sweep that back foot leg around, coming into the bottom part, the base of our apex pose today, which is Gomukhasana or cow face pose. So let's sit like this for a minute. Now, if that left heel is under your right buttock, I like to pull it out so you can really find home on the mat here. Try this, everybody. Half knee pile. Makes it more possible to sit up straight. You can do this pose in this, or you can come back to both legs folded. So now the strap is coming into your left hand. Left arm is reaching up, really reach up, and then seat the head of the arm bone in. See if you can let that right buttock release a little bit lower. It doesn't need to be touching. Activate your feet. Telescope your ribs. Reach back with that left hand. Open up the armpit. We don't open our armpits very often. Is your neck loose and released? Right hand comes out. Bend your elbow. Spend a breath or two pushing the back of your hand into that small of your back. It just feels so good. And then it helps your shoulders get time to realize, okay, I'm ready for the next move. Now you can hold on to your strap or not. Would you be able to yawn in this pose? My cameraman just yawned. He's not doing cow face pose. Okay, so wag that left ear a little bit. Open up your collarbones. Let them smile. Adjust the shoulder blades so that they're feeling good. And then come out of the pose a little bit. Release out of it. And then work your way back in if you want, or just stay more relaxed. You know, right now I'm feeling a lot of tension in my left quad. I don't remember if I felt that before. So I'm trying to let that go because I don't need that. Draw left elbow and right elbow away from each other. Left is going up, right is coming down, and then they're both pulling in. Both those arms are pulling in toward each other. Gomukhasana. Finding home in a challenging pose. With your last breath, breathe lots of air into every part of your body. Let it suck up that oxygen. And then breathe out the CO2 and maybe some of the tension you've been feeling. Once again, very slowly come out of that pose. Reach the top leg back. Come into plank pose. Lift up into downward dog. Find home in your last downward dog. And then come up on your fingertips and your toe tips and reach up through your belly and then start tiptoeing forward slowly. What's happening here? You might not be able to get all the way up to your hands. That's okay. And then lower your heels and come on up however way you like to come up to standing. Exhale back home, back to Tadasana. We'll have our final pose for cooling down, and we'll be on our backs. So coming down onto your back on your mat. Bring your knees up to your chest. Grab behind your knees and start rocking. And then stop and draw the knees in. Keep the knees in toward your chest and let your arms come out to the side. Okay, inhale. Exhale, bring your knees, keep them at a tight angle up to your chest, over to the side. Now, if you have a roll or a block that you want to rest your legs on, that's a lot more relaxing. Maybe your legs will come all the way to the floor. Maybe your left hand is going to be up on your left hip. That's okay. And start feeling home in this nice twist. Maybe your left arm and left shoulder will start to release a little bit. Your left palm, bring right to your lower ribs and just spread them up softly and gently over your ribs. And now with 3 breaths here, you're going to breathe in to that place where the warmth of your palm is. Breathing in and feeling that. Relax that left shoulder. your hand up to mid-ribs, right around the breast. And 3 more breaths in this position. Is your neck okay? Can you turn your head so you're not feeling any tension in your neck? Breathing right into the area that you can feel, that warm area on your ribs. And for your last time, bring your hands up right up by your armpit, where that nice muscle is. And this is a harder place to find in your ribs. So breathe into that place 3 times. Keep breathing. Now release your hand and just be in the pose. I'm going to read you some little excerpts I took out of an essay called Resettling the Mind by Jessica Gigot. She's owns a small sheep farm south of Bellingham. I'll send you her link in an email. She quotes Pema Chodron. So even if the hot lowliness is there, and for 1.6 seconds we sit with that restlessness, when yesterday we couldn't sit for even 1 second, that's the journey of a warrior. I don't consider myself a warrior, but I have come to a more settled place in my life, which I guess makes this quarantine a bit easier to weather. While I hope for positive and swift public health and economic outcomes for this global pandemic, I also don't want to take this time for granted. Beyond accepting that an outbreak of this magnitude is out of our control, there is opportunity for personal growth and possibly a new beginning for us and for the earth. Yes, there is unbelievable suffering and sorrow and sacrifice, but if we focus on that alone, we will never survive. Okay, we're moving to the other side. So roll back on your back with your knees folded up, and then bring the knees over to the left side. See if they can reach the floor or reach a support. And find a place for your right hand that's comfortable for now. And we'll start the same breathing exercise we did on the other side. Bring your left palm to your your right palm to your lower right ribs for 3 breaths. Yeah. Find a home for that breath in that part of your lungs. Now move your hand up so that it's in the mid-ribs. And find 3 nice deep breaths into that area that you can feel. And finally, move your hand up to above your breast by your armpit. This might be easier because you do have 3 lobes in the right lung. So breathe into that area 3 times. And let your shoulder release as a result of that. Now release that hand to the floor or your hip. We'll stay in this pose. And I'll read you another excerpt from the essay. Now, during this in-between time of how things were and what comes next, we all have a chance to see and experience our lives more fully, to be imperfect and perfect at the same time. Annie Dillard's famous quote, "How we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives." Our days are long and shapeless. Our days are full and hard. Our lives are ripe for renewal and reclamation. Humans need their flock, and soon we will be able to gather together again as families, co-workers, and friends. In the meantime, what can staying teach us? I am ready to learn. Okay, so roll over onto your back again. And take your legs up in the air and circle your ankles around a little bit. This is an inversion. And then circle the ankles around the other way. Draw your knees into your chest, and then let your legs lengthen out on the floor to the position you'd like to have for today's Shavasana. Take some good deep breaths and let the exhalations help you release into this pose of relaxation. This can be a pose that tests our ability to stay home. We know it's the end of the class, the end of the practice. All the outside world comes crowding in. Make a commitment to stay with this pose for 2 or 3 minutes. And let your muscles release all that tension that they built up during the practice. And learn. You don't have to be good. You don't have to crawl through the desert on your knees for 100 miles repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Staying in yoga, staying in your body, begin to deepen your breath. Find your own way out of Shavasana gently and slowly, moving a little bit here and a little bit there, rolling over to one side, practicing the pose of a released neck as you use your strong arms to help you come up to seated on your mat, on your island, at your home. Bring your palms together. May we all perfect our commitment to being able to stay on the mat, to stay safe, and to stay home in many ways. Namaste. Thank you.